been a while since I put anything up, so I thought I'd do a bit of an update and maybe try and get a bit more regular with things I'm doing, as there's going to be quite a bit happening on this car in front of you right now. So a bit of backstory: I sold my old EK Civic, which you've seen in some of the other videos. Sold to another guy who was just getting into racing, and it's still going strong, and he's enjoying it. And I actually picked up this EK Civic here. I actually picked this up a year ago yesterday, believe it or not, and it's been incredibly problematic basically ever since I got it. I've been constantly fixing things, tidying things up, and trying to get this running right. I'm yet to turn a lap in anger in it, because there's just been so many issues, but we're slowly getting there. So what I'll do is I'll start with, I guess, a few of the issues, and then I'll go over the car a wee bit. So I picked this car up, like I said, about a year ago. I drove up to the North Island here in New Zealand to pick it up, and it never ran right from the day I got it. I bought it back anyway. I think it wouldn't be too bad, but it has been fairly problematic. So in a nutshell, this is a K-swap K20 Turbo with a Quaife Sequential. Now, the first time I had this out down here, my first drive, the gearbox, it was never running right, and it lunched the gearbox completely. And if you imagine, the rebuild costs on a sequential gearbox are by no means minimal. So first issue was we completely rebuilt the gearbox at a quite an expense, with a ton of new parts. I've had friends with endless issues with the Quaife sequential boxes as well, and I've spoken to numerous other people with them. I'm yet to really run the rebuilt box in real anger to see, if it's going to be fine or not. I had a very reputable guy build it, so we'll see what happens there. So that was the first issue out of the way, and then there's been a lot of tidying up and bits and pieces I've done on it. Basically, it came wrapped with a horrible sticker bomb wrap. See the picture here. Underneath that wrap, it was originally, this car was championship white, beautiful, Type R colour. However, they'd painted it black straight over the white, and I peeled the sticker bomb wrap off. It peeled a lot of that paint off, and it was just incredibly haggard underneath. So I've since sanded it back, and then I've re-wrapped it, as you can see, to this blue and white scheme. It's getting a bit more done to it, but obviously focusing on other things at the moment. So I've put fiberglass doors on, quick release hinges, which have been really handy for loading the car on trailers and what have you. Now if we move to the front of the car, we've got a K20 Turbo, or at least we did. As you'll see there is in fact no engine in here, which leads to yet another issue. So the last time again that I had it out, it blew a head gasket. The rings were on their way out, blowing smoke and all sorts, so we've got to hone the block, get new rings, head gasket. That's currently the engine builders at the moment, so that's the latest issue, and of course more expense. All the times in between, the time that I last had it out, I should say, I've been trying to figure out a brake issue rather than replace the engine, rebuild the engine, but that's fine. So when I got it, it had the same compound pads front and rear, which is just stupid. It's got big 330mm discs with 6-piston calipers on the front, and it's got what you'd normally run on the front of a Honda, 282mm vented prelude, but they're on the rear. So it is over braked on the rear, but what we've done is run a more aggressive pad in the front, a less aggressive pad in the rear, and I'm still yet to test this out. I went out to bed the brakes in, and that's when it did the head gasket. So hoping that this new combo is going to get it braking, because I was just flat spotting tyres. It was like, it's got an adjustable brake bias in here, and it's wound to the least amount of brake possible. However, you wound it as if this didn't exist, so the rear brakes are getting what they should. It's like having the handbrake on. It's just boom, just lock the rears. And even with this, with the least amount of pressure going to the rear as possible, it still just, it locks rears if you're not careful. I can't mod. But on to, I guess, some more positive notes moving forward. This is what the engine does look like. I'll pop a picture up here. So nice K20 Turbo. It is a built motor. It's got forged pistons, forged rods. It's ported head cams, and yeah, so it's had a bit of work done to it, which is good. Runs on E85 and has all the goodies to go with it. Power wise, are running 350 horsepower on 10 pound, and it's 400 horsepower. This is to the front wheels on 15 pound. That's on a pretty modestly sized turbo, obviously to keep the power band up on the track. In fact, there's a turbo there sitting in the back with this rest of the parts, some of the parts of the engine there. It's just an older Garrett turbo. Yeah, so it makes that sort of power. It is very rapid. I have managed to get going straight line pretty well before it did smash the gearbox, and it certainly does move. Now it's got to work on getting it braking and cornering, and then there'll be a pretty big aero package in development for it. I've got these wheels just here, 18 by 10.5, and they are going to be mounted up to the front with 20mm spaces, and we're going to be running a pretty aggressive package up here. I've just finished today actually cutting the front off this here. As you can see, there's no more slam panel there anymore. So we're going to be tube framing around the front here, custom front bumper, wide body front guards to obviously house the massive wheels, and tyres, 275 wide slick, 280 wide slick, sorry. And yeah, we've got custom alloy fuel tank, full stainless exhaust right through, custom arms right through. The whole back, you might have seen when I opened it up here before, all where the spare wheel normally would be is all cut out, all empty under there, and there's a custom aluminium fake sort of false floor in there. Here's some of the parts I've just been pulling out today. So it's got a full, this is actually the transmission cooler, and the pump for it, tilt and pump, which I'm going to be rerouting and redoing all of that in the coming couple of weeks. So we move over to the interior here. We've got the nice Quaife Sequential shifter there bolted in. Pretty cool piece of kit. It's run by a Geartronics ECU, separate to the Link which runs the engine. There's a Link Fury over there. I've got a full Willwood pedal box setup down there. Again, at some stage this last owner's put this horrible foil tape absolutely everywhere through this car for whatever reason. We've got the AIM dash here, or it was actually a Link, which is a rebranded AIM dash, which is really neat. You see there buttons on the steering wheel, etc. to get through all of that. All the fairly rough switch panel, pretty standard stuff through there, low and high boost on the end, and that is the Geartronics gear display is what I'm looking for, which is a cool piece of kit as well. So that's a pretty brief overview of the car. Going to be making quite a lot of progress on this, like I say, in the coming weeks and months. So what I might do is try and get these up a bit more often, keep you in the loop, maybe film a bit of what I'm doing, instead of just doing it and talking about it like I am right now. But yep, any questions, fire them in the comments. Otherwise, the next step here is probably going to be the tube frame front.